It's the Unihertz Jelly Star. Link in the description. It does help the channel. $209. Unihertz was nice enough to send this little guy along for a review, and we've covered a few of them now on the channel, and I just love what they have to offer. And the Jelly Star is probably the most fun of the bunch. We'll go over that in a minute. Let's talk about the specs on this. But before we do that, let's zoom in the camera so we can let's bring Pusheen in, because we can actually zoom in on this guy and we can have a kind of a close-up of what's going on the Jelly Star. Specs first, Helio G99, so it's not going to set the world on fire, but the G99 is perfectly nice. I've used it in a few different devices now. Always performs well. I've never had complaints about it. Decent on gaming. We'll show that in a minute, as long as you don't go nuts with it. And it is being shipped on the most current, the Samsung Galaxy A15. The 4G version has the Helio G99 powering it. So this is a 4G device, obviously. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, micro SD card expandability, and a headphone jack. So for those of you who love those classic features, you have them on your Jelly Star. 480 by 854 display. Now, normally that would be a downside on an LCD. However, because it is a 3-inch display, things looked actually pretty nice on this. The colors are good. Poppy, gets decently bright for the size. I just love using these things. And whenever I go back, it's just amazing the functionality you can get out of a device with a 3-inch display. It's a lot of fun. Everybody asks what it is. It's an absolute conversation starter. Everyone's like, what is that? Can you even use that? And what sets this apart from the other jellies, of course, is Unihertz has kind of gone in with the different LEDs on the back, and I absolutely love the ones on the back of the Jelly Star. First of all, you have me at translucent plastic. They have a red, they have a slate gray, and they have this turquoise one. Anything with translucent plastic, and I'm sold, especially when there's a bluish translucent plastic. But then you go ahead in and add we'll turn them on. You add the LEDs, and it's just a bunch of fun. And you can link them to all sorts of things. There's apps, there's stuff. You can link them to music. You can link them to we'll show it here. I'm trying to do it. You can link it to music, notifications. It's great. You've put this face down somewhere where you're at, and you get a flashing notification. You know you have a text and stuff like that. Just a ton of fun and a really nice touch on the Jelly itself. Like I said, LCD, dual SIM. Now, you can have the dual SIM and the micro SD card as kind of a hybrid slot for the secondary SIM. United States, you're dealing with what you're dealing with. T-Mobile, Mint, channel partner, stuff like that. Those are the ones that are going to work best. Verizon, I believe, with an activated SIM, you could get away with it. AT&T is going to shut you down. It's just the way it is. But as long as you overseas, you're not going to have a problem. But here in the United States, T-Mobile, keep it to something like that. Getting into it, fingerprint sensor on the back, physical, very nice. Also, probably the fastest face unlock there is. Plenty fast, really nice, works every time. I've really had no issues with that. I really enjoy the form factor. You've got the convenience key, programmable key on the side. Mine by default is the flashlight, but you could go ahead and program it to a bunch of different things, volume up and down, and you have your sleep-wake button here on the side. We talked about the headphone jack. That's nice. We have the, I believe that is, I don't want to quote an IR blaster, but I believe that's an IR blaster, and Unihertz does a good job keeping those on there. You got a single bottom firing speaker here around it, and then of course on the back you have a 48 megapixel camera, which actually does pretty darn well for its size. Let's talk about performance, because that's what you're really going to be asking about on a device like this. Perfectly usable. Pull up Instagram. Is it the fastest in the world? No. But once it pulls up, it's a surprisingly good and smooth experience. You have capacitive buttons here at the bottom. You got your back, you got your home, you got whatever. You still have swipe gestures. They'll still work. But you can see I can kind of go back here. Swipe gestures will work, but it's nice having the little capacitive buttons, especially on a device like this. One-stop shop as well. You get kind of a TPU case, gel case on this. You get the charger in the box, 10-watt charging. Not going to set the world on fire like the processing power, but it gets the job done. It's a 2,000 milliamp hour battery, and it lasts the entire day. So you're really not going to have a whole issue with battery life, especially on a device like this. You're not getting a device like this because you're a heavy user. A power user, or a big-time mobile gamer. You're not considering a Jelly Star. You're considering a Jelly Star if you're somebody who wants a compact phone, you want a secondary device, you want something you throw in your bag, you don't have to worry about something like those old-school Nokias that fits in your pocket, stuff like that. That's why you consider a Jelly Star. But what's great is you don't really have to compromise on the stuff that we have today. You don't have to compromise on Discord. You don't have to compromise on Facebook. You can pull up Twitter or X now at this point and not have an issue with it. You could get a good scroll in. And it's a reasonably nice experience. It's a full-fledged experience. You're seeing full posts. So it's not like it shrinks it down. So you're seeing full posts. So it's not like you're getting kind of a few words at a time and you're scrolling all around the page. You can get Reddit. We'll pull up Pokemon Go. You can see you get some light gaming in as well. As long as it doesn't require a big screen or you need your thumbs on the screen, you're okay. But I was able to throw curveballs and all the rest of it and catch Pokemon to my heart's content. So that's really what I test when I look at something like a Jelly Star. What's the compromise? What's the nerf on my functionality? And what I always love about the Jelly Star, the Jelly devices, is that there really isn't a huge compromise. Yes, it's not the most powerful in the world, all the rest of it, but that size that you get and the weight, it's 116 grams, so it's light in the pocket. It's just a really nice compact device. You can see curveball, no problem, nice and smooth. You can play Pokemon Go and some lighter stuff. YouTube, we'll pull up YouTube, make sure my video is still on there because I don't want to get any copyright issues. But you can see YouTube, fine. Like I said, it's a lower resolution display, but when it's 3 inches, it doesn't really matter. So you got a nice little display there. YouTube works fine. Everything that you're going to want to do on this, with the headphone jack, you could hook it up to Spotify. You could the picture-in-picture if you really hate yourself. Works fine. Get rid of that there. But I love it. I'm a big fan of the Jelly series. I love the quality that it brings. Android 13, it's Unihertz. You're not getting the most up-to-date features and stuff like that. When a new one drops, usually you get an update, but it is running Android 13, which is nice. At least you get that. Typing on this, believe it or not, I don't know what it is. And I've had problems on smaller devices before. I don't know what it is about the Jellies that I do not have a problem typing on this. It seems to, even though my thumbs cover the entire display, it seems to know what I'm trying to hit. I can't do it on camera because I'll make it look bad. But if you own one, drop it in the comment section. For some reason, texting and typing on this is actually not painful at all. I'm able to type out just as well as maybe not just as well, all right, that's exaggeration, but I'm able to type out relatively pain-free on the Jelly, the 3-inch display, way more than you'd expect for such a small display. So, I mean, we used to, the iPhone was 3.5 million, whatever. We're used to smaller displays. We just forgot about it because it was years in the past. It was ancient history. But these are easy to type on. They're nice. The scrolling is great. The just one-hand ability of it is nice. Like I said, it feels like those old-school Nokia devices that were this big that you carried in your pocket in the late 90s and early 2000s. It brings back that vibe. And then you got kind of the 90s translucent plastic look. Really nice overall. Like I said, multiple ways to get into it. I like the lights on the back. You might think they're a gimmick, but I think they're pretty cool. They add a bit to the conversation, and it makes it just adds to the overall aesthetic. So overall, an excellent job on this. If you've been hesitant about getting one, if you wonder what kind of experience you're going to get by picking up a Jelly Star, it's going to be a pretty full-fledged experience. You're not compromising on a whole lot. It's just happening on a much smaller display than we're used to. So you're not giving up your social media. You're not giving up whatever. Just, maybe if you're older, you need glasses to see some of the text on here, but you're getting full posts, which is what I like on Instagram. I'm able to see a full post on here. I'm able to kind of go through and get through the entire picture. It looks good, especially on Twitter. You're going to have no problem with posts and scrolling and getting a nice social media scroll going. But I love the functionality. I love that it's kind of a disconnect device there when you need it, but you're not going to do a whole lot on it. Like I said, if you're a major power user, you're not getting a Jelly Star. This is somebody, if you need something light, something fun, something a bit different, but something that you're not going to have your face buried in all day long. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.